this video I'm going to cover what I use to film solo up the side of a mountain, and stay till the end and I'll tell you the bit of kit that I could not have done it without. Now if you're looking to be a solo filmmaker, these devices are really handy, but each one has its own different use and I'm going to go through why. Now if you haven't already seen the video of me taking a wheelchair up Snowdon, please check that out after this. But I just want to run through the gear I had on the day and what I used, and tell you right at the end what is the most valuable bit of kit that I think that you should get for your solo filmmaking. So first of all, my main camera was the Sony A7R V. Now I love this camera, and it's actually what I'm filming on now. I actually have two of them for the reason that you can shoot two different angles. I've had many iterations of Sony cameras, but this is the one that I just fell in love with. I mean, I even had like the S cameras, which are more for filming, and you'd think I'd be better off with those, but there's just something about this R5 that I love, and I wouldn't swap it for the world. It's been the one that I've gone to and I just get on with it. I look at the results, I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I was trying to do. So on that as well, which was not that much of a light kit, I had the Sony FE 24-70, the G Master. This is a really heavy lens, so I was debating, because I'm currently filming on the 20mm, and I was debating just taking that, but I thought on the mountain I might need a little bit more range. And unfortunately I can't show you the footage from the top because that's actually for a different project. But this is just the go-to. It's the GOAT, and but it is really heavy. And the Tamron, I used to have the Tamron equivalent, and that just seemed a bit lighter. So you don't really need the GM. It's just nice to have the GM. So on me, I also had this new DJI, I always want to call it the Mini, but it's not the Mini, it's the Osmo Nano. So that was actually clipped to me. That gave some really good POV shots that I'll be showing you now. And it kind of plants the viewer like right in it, which is good. It's a really handy little thing. It didn't overheat, I just let it record. And it got some moments that I just really wasn't expecting, and I think it's actually the device I pick up for the shot right at the top when I lift it up. I think I just lifted it up off where it was had a magnet on me. That I love that little shot. I'll show you it. Just that little, because there's something about it that felt intimate. That little shot right at the end. On the Exoquad, I had this. I didn't have it in the case, but I had this most of the time facing forward. But because I had it on a really easy mount to swivel, turned the key thing on it, turned it round, and got some kind of forward-facing shots that really kind of help, because if you're doing something, people want to see a subject in the environment. So yes, it's nice to have these kind of shots of the thing going up, but also at times, like, you want to be able to see a bit of the subject and what's happening. So to be able to just turn this round at different points and keep filming and then turn it the other way was really quite good. I didn't wear this all the time, but I also had the DJI Mic 3 on the Sony, which is what I've got on at the moment, with this little mic and the wind cover. We did some recording at the top. The audio is absolutely fine. It's a-okay. I love these radio mics. It used to have Rodes, and sadly the Rode did fail on a shoot, which is why I replaced it with this. I'd love to try the Rodes again to see if it was just a one-off, because I've been a Rode fanboy for years before. But because I've got a load of other Osmo stuff, I've got an Osmo Pocket 3, I think. Just the connectivity with the other Osmo things, it just helps. So anyway, the other thing that I had was this Insta360 X5. Now, I know DJI do a 360 camera and I don't know much about it, and I probably would have got that, but I got this first. I had one of the first iterations of this 360 camera, and the reason why I got rid of it is because the resolution, once you stretch that resolution over the whole image, anything you dialed into just became like really great, like blurry and grainy and not great. So now that they're filming like 8K or 5.7K on the complete 360, when you then dial into it any one particular frame, it's still looking good definition wise. So I was able to kind of put this on this, which is just the best designed stand, and just poked it everywhere. It turns on, you literally press that button and it's recording in 4K, well 5.7K, but yeah, you get what I mean. It's recording in the right detail for you to be able to use it later. And I shot a really funky reel of this using the Insta mobile app, and I put that on my Instagram. I just let AI do it. I was like, yeah, do this edit. I'd had a load of people talking about the shoot and kind of going, oh, you know, really want to see stuff and can't wait to see it. And we were travelling and stuff, and that night I didn't have like the final cut. Like, it was just a lot going on. But I was able to take 5 minutes just to go through Insta and just go like, let's make something quite funky. And it did. So if you want to see that, go on to my Instagram, because I think the AI actually did a really good job of kind of mixing up. What's great about this is that when you do the AI thing, it'll kind of do all the different tricks and the spins and the whatever. And yeah, you can alter it after, but it's just great to get content out there really quick. I literally had that video out there probably within a couple of hours of coming down from the mountain. So so that was really good. So on top of that, in there I actually had the drone. I had the DJI Mini 5 Pro, the latest one. I might be getting the name wrong. And that was the only bit of kit that actually failed me a little bit. Well, it didn't fail me, but we put it up and then I couldn't land it. Because the terrain was uneven, I pressed land and it kept saying unable to land, unable to land. And of course I'm now looking for like a little bit of square inch that I can drop this drone into, and my friend even tried to hold the bottom of it, but obviously the sensors, it was then moving up. So we did manage to get it to work, but it did then say that it crashed. It hadn't crashed, so it was more the tricky landing. But also a little tip, with everything, just turn them on before you go to the shoot, because with the drone, I hadn't turned it on for a couple of months and it needed to update, the controller needed to update, and imagine if I'd have got like halfway up the mountain and I needed to turn this thing on and now it's saying, oh, you need Wi-Fi to just the day before you're doing something, just turn everything on, make sure it's all up to date, make sure it's all charged and you're ready to go, because the worst thing you can do is get to that moment where you need to shoot, especially if you're with somebody whose patience is kind of then going down because you're taking ages to fluff over this thing. It's just not worth it. So turn it all on, charge it all up, and make sure that it's all up to date. So that was quite a lot of equipment to go up the mountain with, and I appreciate that. But I think the coverage was good, and I was able to do, I would say, like 95% of that on my own. I got somebody to hold the Sony camera at the top because I needed, like I said, I needed that shot for a different project. Obviously somebody helped me a little bit with getting the drone, you know, in like down, because I couldn't land it right next to me. And I had the tripod just kept falling off the back of the chair because I was like shaking about with this chair and the tripod. But all in all, it kind of went okay, and I wish I'd have been able to get more drone stuff at the top, but it started to rain and I thought, if one of these drops gets into that drone, and it was starting to come down really heavy, so I was quite limited in what I could do at the top. But even then, being able to just kind of like smash it and get the shot that you want and then be able to move on was great. So before I tell you which is the bit of kit that I would absolutely recommend that you must get, because it makes shooting, especially if you've only got one chance to get it, a little bit easier, just to say, please comment on this and let me know if there's any bits of equipment that I haven't considered that would be good for a solo filmmaker, because I'm just a camera geek. I love technology, and any excuse for me to browse websites and look for new technology. But if you think there's a bit of kit that, as a wheelchair user or any other content creator doing solo content creation, can get, then please put it in the comments. So it might not be a surprise for you to learn that this little thing was my favourite. Not because I think it was the best footage. It was because it was just the most easy. I opened it up and I jammed it underneath the device, the chair, and I was able to get the wheel turning shots, and then I held it to the rear. I was able to get some more of those intricate shots, and I didn't have to, if it had been this, I'd have had to have repositioned it and stopped and all of that lot. And just on the fly, I was able to just poke it in different directions and get different shots. It's not the only thing you need, I think, for being a film creator, because it is a little bit of a novelty. But what I feel like it does is it makes getting those B-roll shots so much easier. But try and face the lens towards the thing that you want, because what you don't want is the stitching of it to be, messing up that shot. So try and aim the lens at whatever it is. But I just feel like it just elevates things. Just that, it's like when you have a drone, it just elevates that thing just that little bit more. And I honestly, I just loved it. For ease of use, it's just brilliant. And my partner, who normally has to suffer coming with me and doing recordings, she loves this, because she literally just turns it on and points it in my direction, and she doesn't have to worry about where it's facing or anything. So I think for a bit of accessible kit, definitely 360 cameras are so great now, and if you use the AI software, they even do the editing. But it's not the most professional bit of kit, but it's one of the most fun and one of the most easy to do. So that was my little adventure into doing that. And any questions or any comments you have, hopefully I'm going to be doing a little bit more of this accessible filmmaking and going out and getting shots of the cool stuff. I might be joined by a few friends along the way, so stick around for that.